The daily struggles of diabetes can be overwhelming. But what if the key to success were the small changes that you can make over time? Changes in how you choose your foods, manage your pantry, and become efficient in preparing your nutritious meals from home. Welcome to the Talking Apron podcast. Join me as we navigate diabetes together. The good, the bad, and the sometimes ugly that can happen as we experience life with diabetes. Learn, make changes, and gain confidence in mastering your diabetes care by listening weekly to the Talking Apron. I'm your host, Ann Bernardin, a former high school nutrition and wellness teacher who was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 50. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to home for many of us. It's about emotional eating. You know, we all experience emotional eating at some point, whether it's reaching for that extra slice of cake or another handful of chips. Maybe it's after a stressful day. You know, crunch, fat, salt, cream, mashed potatoes, comfort. We need comfort food sometimes when we're feeling down. But what if I told you that this habit, often seen as a setback, can actually be harnessed to improve your health, even with diabetes? So go ahead and go grab your cuppa and we'll get started. As a type 1 diabetic myself, I've had my fair share of struggles with emotional eating. And in the past, before diabetes, filling up on waffles, Ritz crackers, bowls of rice, you see where I'm going here. Bad habits. And if you notice, I was never really an ice cream gal. But over time, I learned that instead of battling against it, I could work with it, with the emotional eating, and start making healthier choices. And that's why I'm sharing and what I'm sharing with you today. First, let me explain what emotional eating is. It's when we use food to soothe or suppress negative emotions or stress, anger, loneliness, and even boredom. There's an anxiety when you're bored. You know, it's a coping mechanism. Many people use it, and it provides that temporary comfort. But that temporary comfort can lead to unhealthy habits. And it's especially dangerous for us, for those of us that are managing diabetes. Now, why do we turn to food when we're stressed? Well, it's chemistry, brain chemistry, that is. Our brains are wired to seek comfort, to make ourselves feel better. And food often provides that instant gratification. That high sugar and high fat foods, they trigger the release of the feel-good hormones, which is why we often crave them when we're feeling low. And for diabetes, we know emotional eating can lead to blood sugar spikes, weight gain, feeling a loss of control, and then having additional anxiety because we feel bad because we know we just screwed up. But recognizing the pattern is the first step towards using it to our advantage. Instead of viewing emotional eating as a failure, think of it as an opportunity to listen to your body. Listen. What is it truly asking for? Is it water? Is it a hug? Is it comfort? Is it love? Is it a distraction? Is it nutrients, different foods? Is it a feeling? What is it that your body is asking of you? This awareness, or another level of what I call our science experiment when we got diagnosed, it can help you. Paying attention, It helps you make better choices. And you can use this habit to make a different, better choice. All right, I'm sure you're thinking, well, how? Well, first up, don't worry about the habit or the stress itself. You want to pay attention to when you're reaching for that food, not for the food's sake. Like you already ate dinner and you are already full, but you want something. Or maybe you're sitting down to that favorite movie, or you're a different movie, but movie time always means that huge bowl of popcorn at 10 o'clock at night. What is that about? Could you substitute something else? Now, when you want that, changing up that habit, think of what your body is saying first. Think of what your mind is saying. And then second, this is the opportunity to piggyback a new habit on an old one. Now, piggyback is a practice that I read about, but I can't give credit to the author because I forget, because I've read so many books on habits. But because I forgot the book, it's called piggybacking. Pick one of those new habits that you've been wanting to add unsuccessfully into your life because you always forget when to put it in, and put it in place where there's the old habit. I'll go first. I know I reach for nuts. Used to be potato chips, but now it's nuts when I'm looking to relieve my stress by chewing. That's the action that I want. So I notice when, I must be stressed because I really want to, alleviate that stress. That's the action is what I want. So I notice the desire or stress. First thing I do is I take a few sips of water just to change the pattern of going for that handful, which ends up turning into a cupful of nuts. And just in case I'm reading it wrong, reading my body wrong, and maybe that my body wants the water, that's why I take a few sips. And if those few sips turns into I'm gulping down 10 to 12 ounces, well, I know my body didn't want food, it didn't want nuts, it wanted water. The second thing I do is I then leave the room. Yeah, even if I'm in the middle of doing something, because it must mean I have some angst in my body. And if you are watching this podcast on YouTube, you can see me moving my shoulders and wiggling around, because sometimes I carry the stress in my body, and the only way I can alleviate it is through my jaw. So usually the stress on my end is because I didn't get everything on my to-do list done. Do you ever have that problem? Yeah. The second part of that is, or I've been standing at the computer too long, or I've been with people all day long and my mind and body is just overwhelmed and I need to decompress and do some activity because I'm an activity person to get the stress out of my body. And it's an activity where I can move and my brain can relax. So here's examples of what I do. Sweeping my patio, cleaning the bathroom. And what I mean is, no, I'm not going to do the full shower and tub. No, I'm wiping the counter, putting my hairbrush and blow dryer back, wrapping the cord, doing a little something so I give myself moments to decompress. Another is doing the dishes. For me, those are all little actions that my body needs to release the stress of the day. Think of what your body is telling you when you are reaching for that bowl. Maybe it's telling you that you're upset from something at work and you need to make a call to a friend and just say, I had a crappy day at work. I had a crappy day at work, period. That may be all you need. You may not need the full carton of ice cream. You may just need a friend to listen. And then you find a few solutions that you start trying. So next up is the topic of mindful eating. Now, mindfulness plays a huge role in what we want to do is turn emotional eating into a positive habit. Well, what am I talking about? Now I want to not change the emotional eating? Yes, don't change it. Maybe by slowing down and paying attention to what, why, and how you're eating. Did you hear that? What, why, and how you're eating. You can start making conscious decisions that align with your health goals. Maybe you still have your emotional treat, but you measure out a portion that's much, much smaller than you usually take, and you make yourself savor it. And I'm talking ice cream, something soft and smooth. Savor. Take a teaspoon at a time, not a tablespoon. And like if you drink wine, you smell, you taste the sweetness and the flavoring. Let it slowly melt on your tongue. And then wait to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you take another spoonful. That's what you do. And if it's not ice cream, that's okay. Do it with chips. 2 or 3 chips in your mouth. Savor the salt, the fat, the crunch, the chew. Chew it, swallow it, count to 5. Grab another. You want to start appreciating the food that you're eating during your emotional eating craving. Start being mindful with it. And I want to say here, buy the best. What do I mean? Best quality of the food that you crave. Get the most expensive 5-ingredient ice cream that has full fat and doesn't have all those additives in it. It is so much better. Buy those kettle fried chips that are $5 for 2 ounces. Do it. And I want to say here, don't go eating that junk. It's mindless stuff. It doesn't taste good. If you're going to emotionally eat, put a cost to it. The best usually costs more. Have it truly as a luxury reward for that emotional crap you're going through. That's another recommendation, another way to use it. And you'll find that you're satisfied with so much less in your mouth. And that could be the first start of how to transition and not eat all those foods that you sometimes think you just sabotaged yourself. Another way to look at this is to have healthy substitutes. Well, that's what the experts say anyway. I'm not 100% sold on this as a first step. You know, once your new way of eating is established, and I mean as a diabetic, we have to make some shifts and changes. Once that is incorporated, then you'll start looking at the mindful eating, excuse me, and substitute once you've adjusted. So there may be healthier options that you start noticing that you enjoy, that you can substitute. Maybe you found a really good hummus that you absolutely adore and you start eating that instead of the high sugar processed food that you were eating. That's okay. Slice up a cucumber, add a couple carrots. That's a shift. That's a good shift. So when the urge to emotionally eat hits, have a list of all the healthy alternatives ready. For example, if you're craving something sweet, try a piece of fruit or a small serving of dark chocolate with 1 or 2 strawberries. If you want something crunchy, reach for nuts or seeds. Again, portion these out. Eat them slowly. These options can satisfy your cravings without derailing your blood sugar numbers. Today we've been talking about how to change up how we look at emotional eating and some of the ways that we can use it and change it. Here on the Talking Apron, I share about how to create a diabetes journey that gives you a pathway to confidence in living your diabetes life. But one thing that I've realized in that living with diabetes, it means adapting and changing frequently. Everybody's journey is different. Our knowledge, our experience, our lifestyle, our stress, and all the other factors that determine how successful we can be in managing diabetes. It's all different for different people, from person to person. Success means that we need a plan for keeping our lives as simple as possible, especially since living with this disease is anything but simple. It's stressful. It's all the time. I've opened up my schedule to coach a few more clients each week in a one-on-one format. If you have interest in finding out if we would be a good fit to work together, find the link to my calendar in the description of this podcast, as well as on the website, www.thetalkingapron.com. As a fellow diabetic, I know how to be successful, and I know we need to act by making changes and finding different answers to help us to truly take control of our diabetes. If you're ready to act to make changes in how you manage and control your diabetes, reach out. Remember, you can find the button link on the Talking Apron website at www.thetalkingapron.com. Stop the overwhelm. Take control of where you're heading. I look forward to meeting you, a fellow diabetic, and chatting with you. All right. This last segment that we're talking about in this podcast today is all about planning. It's my expertise. There you have it. I'm saying it right out. I am one of the best at planning, organizing, utilizing the foods I have. And one of the best ways to manage emotional eating is by planning. And there are many different aspects of planning. Because what do you mean? Today, we're doing planning light, because you could get all into not a full overhaul of planning your pantry, kitchen space, meals, freezer, what am I going to eat? Nope. We are simply talking about keeping your kitchen stocked with healthy, emotional eating snacks. Some options for you. What do you always have on hand? Because you will have stress. You will have those crazy, awful days, whether you come home from work or a visit with your family, or you blew a tire, whatever it is, you are going to have stress because our lives are stressful. We want to make sure that your kitchen is stocked with some really great, healthy options. Snacks that are made with better ingredients, meaning less processed foods, and not a lot of number, not a huge paragraph of ingredients, meaning less processed foods, and they are more satisfying physically and emotionally. This way, when the cravings strike, you are ready, and it's more of a reward, something you can feel better about because you planned, you took action, you're accountable. You know you have emotional eating issues because you planned for this overly stressful occurrence day. Remember, when you shop for your snacks differently, do it today, do it right now, start making the list. You are saying, I am caring for myself and I'm heading in the right direction. I'm heading in the right direction. Diabetes care doesn't happen overnight. Our blood sugars don't stay normal overnight. Certain things work, certain things don't work, and we're constantly, as I said earlier, adapting. So you are saying, I'm caring for myself. I'm heading in the right direction. Do you need to find ways to reduce your stress so you don't eat for emotional reasons? Yes, but let's start with the small changes to get there, to celebrate small wins. And how do you do that? You start by acknowledging and celebrating progress, no matter how small. You took out that tub of ice cream, your reaction's the same, it's not the better quality, and you only ate 4 spoonfuls instead of 25. Pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back. Life with diabetes is hard. We have to acknowledge that and love ourselves. Overcoming emotional eating isn't about perfection. It's about making gradual, sustainable changes. Today we explored how emotional eating, often seen as a challenge, can be reframed as an opportunity to improve our blood sugar by changing up how we look at emotional eating as we live with diabetes. By paying attention and then understanding our triggers, making mindful choices and planning ahead, we can turn this habit into a tool for better health. I challenge you this week to identify one emotional eating trigger and find a healthier way to address it. Remember, every small change brings you closer to your goals. Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Talking Apron. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to subscribe and share the podcast with your friends. Until next time, keep learning and keep taking those small steps towards a healthier you. Together, we can create a community of strong people who take care of themselves first so they can take care of others. Bye for now.